Whatever we do, it should be something which, when we hang our coats, we can be proud of having done it.
What point of time infrastructure happened? What was the turning point?
I realized very soon in my association with that this is not what I want. As an engineer, what really it is to see yourself design something and then really see it come up, the excitement that it gives, I was sold.
With AI and digitization coming into play, how do you see infra in next 5 years?
I think AI is something which every person, every business has to acknowledge it is there to stay. It is going to change the way business is done. It is going to change the way life is lived.
A habit you will never let go of. One leadership quality you value the most. What does success mean to you today? Under your leadership, Welspun has delivered some of the key projects like the Meerut-Delhi Highway. Your team has delivered it before time, which is a rare thing in infra, right? How did your team manage to deliver that?
So I must say that this is a combination of few things. First was, so that's something which egged us on. Let me honestly accept that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Converse with Pro. And today one is really special because we have a distinguished leader from infra space, Mr. Sandeep Garg, Managing Director, Welspun Enterprise. Under his leadership, team has delivered some of the most iconic projects, and we all Welspunites are proud of it. So let's deep dive into his leadership philosophy and his leadership style today, and we'll be talking more about what goes beyond the boardroom meetings. All right, so let's start the episode number 3 with our leader Sandeep Garg. Sandeep, thank you so much for joining us today. Sandeep, before we deep dive into something about the business, we would like to know about your early life. You are an IITian, of course. That's not an easy decision. We would love to know whether it was like you who always wanted to get into IIT or somebody else guided you. Who was the mentor for you in your early life?
So let me honestly accept that I'm an accidental engineer.
Okay.
So, in fact, my brother, who was much brighter, much better in education, I was a happy-go-lucky guy, kind of, when I was growing. And I was growing in a small place like Meerut, so mostly outdoor person. Education was a necessary evil kind of situation for me. But my brother was entirely 180 degree apart from me. He was a studious kind. And he entered into engineering in IIT Roorkee, or what we called that time as University of Roorkee.
Right.
So it became a kind of challenge for me to say, okay, I can also reach there. And that's what motivated me to, even attempt being an engineer. So I would say my brother has been a kind of coach and a North Pole for me.
Wow.
So, which is kind of made me think that I need to do something like engineering in my life. Otherwise I would have been more like a sports person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what made me do the engineering. Now, there beyond, I think I must also admit that my first few years in engineering were also very easygoing till the time my brother passed out and said, hey, you still need to get a job. So, and that's what led to my making effort in engineering, and then the rest is history. I think I'm lucky to be born in a family where education was given an importance, and that possibly enabled me to be what I am today. And thanks to the family, I am here talking to you, and thank you for inviting me for this podcast.
Wow. So engineering was accidental, like, for most of us. I'm also an engineer, and of course it happened accidentally. You were interested in sports, right? So never thought of pursuing your career in sports at that point of time.
If I had an option, I would surely have done it. I don't belong to a family which possibly could have afforded, a sporting career and a risk associated with sporting career.
Mm-hmm.
So possibly took a easier path to, have a successful life. But yes, at heart, I am still a sports person.
Which is your favorite sports?
It's evolved over time. Initially, it was badminton. Was never a cricket fan, despite every friend of mine being a cricket fan. Then it evolved to tennis, and when my kids grew, I realized they were into football. My son is in football, so my started understanding football, and now my daughter is into F1 sport, so I'm trying to learn that. So that's how you evolve.
Interesting, interesting. And what point of time, infrastructure happened? What was the turning point when you thought, okay, this is the industry where I want to be into and will grow? How was it when you started, the initial phase of your career in infra?
So my initial phase of my career were with, and I realized very soon in my association with that this is not what I want.
Okay.
So it was easy for me to say what I don't want. So once that happened, a couple of my friends were doing projects in certain organizations, and I said, looks like this is an exciting life. And then I moved on to their project division. And once I got a feeling of what you can create as an engineer, what really it is to see yourself design something and then really see it come up, the excitement that it gives, I was sold. And thereafter I never looked back. It has always been an infrastructure or a constructor, as I say.
Wow. Under your leadership, Welspun has delivered some of the key projects like the Meerut-Delhi Highway. And in fact, your team has delivered it before time, which is a rare thing in infra, right? Because timeline is something which may, go here and there. How did your team manage to deliver that? Under your leadership, what were the key decisions, that you took that, actually made it, before time?
So I must say that this is a combination of few things. First was when I took over this company, this was the first major bid that I had put in. To give you an idea, when we bid for this job, the Welspun Enterprise average order book was in the ranges of 30 and 40 crores. We bid for a project of almost 850 crores. There was apprehension in the company, apprehension in the team, whether we are ready to deliver that. On top of it, we got a message from somebody who's very important in the country that I know Welspun for towels, I know Welspun for pipes. Would they be able to deliver? So a target was set to deliver this in 24 months. And we did deliver in 19 months, which created a history kind of situation. There was another angle to this. I belong to Meerut. So there was a personal experience as well as a personal purpose. So it drove us beyond normal call of duty. Another thing was very important is everybody wanted it to be done. So whether it was client, for them it was proving the hybrid annuity model. For them it was proving that we can deliver complex projects in a very short time. So NHAI was absolutely on board. Team was fully charged. The contractor was totally aligned with us. So, for anything of this magnitude to be delivered, it is to be that every stakeholder has to be aligned. Every stakeholder has to be charged to deliver what we are set out to deliver. And that's what I think we did differently in that particular project. It's a great success. And I must also add that it is just not a success on timeline. It is probably the first 14-lane road of the country. It is also the first project which had the vertical gardens. It is also a first project which was green by in the means that we were generating about 1 megawatt of power in the on the road itself. So there were not many firsts that came along with it. So that gave us the high of it being able to achieve something which was a tall order at that point in time for us.
Wow. This is not just the only project which is one of the kind that under your leadership Welspun has delivered, but also the water waste management of Dharavi plant, right? This is also something, which you're one of the few leaders who has started thinking about it and creating that shift, that water waste management is really important for India as well. So let's talk about that. How was that project happen, and what was the key decisions that you took while creating that plant?
So I must say that what has driven me for quite some time and is that whatever we do, it should create an impact for a long term.
Right.
It should be something which, when we hang our coats, we can be proud of having done it. So I think Dharavi wastewater treatment plant stands out pretty much as one of the iconic projects that possibly I will do in my professional life. Why I chose it was very simple. It was one of the most complex projects. It was the one of the most needed projects. It was in Dharavi, which is known for otherwise issues rather than for being creating an iconic infrastructure project. We concentrated on that particular project because it is going to be unique, not only in India, possibly first in Asia, kind of project, which is unique that there'll be four SBR tanks, one on top of each other. So we are going to be creating water retaining structures which are -6 meters to above in the air of about 48 meters.
Wow.
So it's kind of effective utilization of space, technologically challenged and technology very differentiated offering. So everything which excites me and the company were right there. So it was a natural choice for us. And I'm very happy to share with the team that, or everybody who's listening, that the team is delivering an exceptionally good job. We possibly will be one of the first projects which were awarded by BMC at that point in time to be completed.
Wow.
So that's what the journey is all about. So creating infrastructure today, which is suitable for tomorrow. That's something which we look forward to doing. And Dharavi, to my mind, is a absolutely prime example of it. It is also important for me to say, it's not only Dharavi that is relevant. If we were to look at Bhandup, Panchrapur, Dharavi, and the tunneling projects that we are doing, we would possibly will be touching 70% of the water being consumed in Mumbai city.
Wow.
So, to me, that's something which is very exciting. We are really living the circularity of water. So it's not only that we are giving the fresh water, we are treating the wastewater and making it usable. So from a social or a point of view of being able to give back to the society, because that's what something that also drives me. This is a unique combination of projects, and I'm very happy to be part of that.
It seems like, when you choose a project, social responsibility is something which is really, really important for you. What are the other things? What are the other parameters that you keep in your mind when you're choosing a project? Okay, I want to take this and I want to deliver this.
So I normally try and stay away from run-of-the-mill projects because one, it does not create any large impact for the society. Also, it does not give me the excitement to go beyond the call of duty. So we normally would look for projects, we aim for them, which are complex,
Mhm.
which will impact the lives of people in a long term. We also look for projects which we will be very proud when we will reflect back on what we delivered. So all these things are a combination that we look, and then we aim and shoot. We don't spray and pray. So I will not be bidding 10 jobs and hoping I'll get one. So I will possibly be bidding 2 jobs or 3 jobs and hoping that I'll get one. So that's the kind of approach that we take. Obviously, it has to make economic sense for sure.
Mhm.
But in addition to the business, what is very relevant for us is how will people or remember it, or how will I remember it when I hang my coat?
Wow. Wow. So, with AI and digitization coming to the play, how do you see infra in next 5 years, and what play role does GCC play in this?
So I think AI is something which every person, every business has to acknowledge that it is there to stay. It is going to be disruptive. It is going to change the way business is done. It is going to change the way life is lived. So it is good that one adapts to it rather than being forced to adapt. So either of the two situations. So we have been reasonably early adapters. And I think it's a it's something which team started very small, and it has become part and parcel of the group, and it's become part and parcel of the company. We started with saying, okay, we were recruiting by tons because we were growing. So we started with a very small thing. Let us use the LLMs and the AIs to sift through the CVs and tell us which one works is likely to work. And that's where the journey began for us. We started using the external modules available, and then GCC took it over, and it was like story thereafter. I mean, I think AI has become an important tool for us to recruit, as well as maintain our records of the CVs that we got, so that we can get back to it. And I think then this journey began. The big journey is now we are trying to grow in tunneling. So tunneling, we are trying to get some data, whatever we have. And the biggest risk in tunneling is how do you make or how do you predict what's ahead of you, because you're going in blind.
Correct.
So with the data available to us, we can now at least prompt the operator what's in historical situation we have dealt with it, how we have dealt with it, what's recommended parameters on which they should operate. So I think, to me, AI and the LLMs and the evolution of the machines and supporting, it is something which is going to be additive. It is going to be something which will make us more efficient, and it is something which is, as I say, essential to adapt to rather than option to adapt to.
Interesting, interesting. Let's talk about your leadership style, Sandeep. It's always, people talk about, let's say you have reached your over, decades of experience. Of course, you might have faced many failures. You might have faced many successes, right? So let's talk about the failures as well, because people are a bit, bit afraid of, failures. So. Is there any story that you would like to share with Welspunites that maybe help them in understanding that getting fail being fail is okay, but going beyond that is really really important.
So I think, first of all, I would want to clarify, failure is not an antithesis of success. It's, to my mind, a stepping stone to success.
Right.
So, giving you an example, I mean, which is real live example which comes to my mind, is a project called Anta Simaria Road or a bridge project on River Ganga. Now, this was our first river bridge project that Welspun Enterprises took up. River Ganga is not known to be the easiest river to tame or to traverse. The flows are very, very high. It can rise very quickly, etc., etc. So every complexity that you can think of in working in water is there in River Ganga. We took that project due to challenges not known to us or not anticipated by us. We pushed a well into the ground, and we failed to reach the anchoring depth, and unfortunately the water rose before it is scheduled to rise, and the well got drifted, which meant that we were stuck with a situation that whatever we had designed we will not be able to execute. we took it upon ourselves, the team took it upon themselves, that we are going to find a solution. In a typical world, people would say, you failed. We said, no, this is not a failure. We are going to find something different. And then we worked through along with our consultants, etc., redesigned the whole thing and created a center, elevated structure, which allowed us to build the project right in that location without losing the right of way. So what it did to us is that suddenly we were not doing just a routine project. We were doing an iconic project. And I don't know how much you know about it. It's the widest extra doors road bridge which is being built in India. Now, because of this challenge that we encountered, you could call it a success or a challenge, that or a failure or a challenge. I would like to call it a challenge. The team rose to that, learned from their mistakes, and created something which is iconic. To give you an idea, that bridge was inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister because it is so iconic. In the Bihar election, I think there were enough reels about it saying it is Dubai of India.
Wow.
So people appreciated it. So it's not that failure you need to be afraid of. Failures will come if you'll take a stretch. Learning from those failures and trying to, go beyond failure and saying how it will reflect on my CV or how it will reflect how people will think. Think about it. How do I get better? And that's how leaders deliver what they deliver, because they are not afraid of the failures. The companies deliver because they are not afraid of failures. Any company which is afraid of failure, or any individual who's afraid of failure, is not likely to reach its zenith. So if you want to reach the zenith, डर के आगे जीत है.
Right. So don't be afraid. Take the challenges.
Yeah.
And of course, you'll be able to deliver.
Yeah.
Right. Great. Over these years, is there any leadership philosophy that has changed for you? Something that you used to believe when you started your career and then that has changed now?
So personally for me, I think when I entered the engineering, I thought I was the chief engineer. By the time I exited the university, I became an engineer. And by the time I became engineer, I thought that I knew everything. And as life evolved, I realized I know so little. And from being, from trying to say I know it all, I became, I need to learn. I don't need to know all answers, but I need to know what to question. So the belief that's changed and the things that have changed for me is, as a leader, you don't have to be knowing all, or you don't need to pose that you know all. You need to be an active learner, and you need to be having a common sense to ask the right questions. Is the team which knows all? Is the people facing you who know all? They possibly know much more than what you know. There's much more wisdom facing you rather than wisdom inside you. So that's the belief that's evolved over the years.
So keep on learning.
Yeah.
Be a learner, lifelong learner.
Yeah.
is the key. Wow. Okay. So wanted to understand what keeps you grounded outside work, right? Because you've been, part of so many important projects. You did mention, these are huge, right? So how do you keep yourself grounded?
I think I would say there are two things that keep me grounded. Number one is that my family is the biggest critique of mine. So they keep on telling me, you are not the managing director. You are Sandeep Garg.
Okay.
So managing director is just a designation for you. It's evolved over the years. So family is the biggest grounding factor for any individual,
Okay.
is what I believe. The second thing is, I also learned a few lessons of my life early enough. And I would want to share my personal experiences, which have helped me understand that staying grounded is an important aspect. My father used to be in Meerut and he was a very well known person. Once he retired, people just forgot. And he was a healthy person, had his first heart attack in 9 months of his retirement. And then I realized, look, everything else is transient. So don't get so much attached. He was so attached to this particular thing. My brother happened to be a DGP, 40 people managing his household. And then once he retires, you're back to a normal, being a normal person. So it's the feeling that these are reflected glories, not your own glory. Your own glory is entirely different. What people will remember you as, how much did you were able to contribute to their lives, what did you do as a person beyond just the professional life, is what will to me is more important. That's what keeps me grounded.
Wow, interesting. Outside board meetings, Sandeep, what do you prefer to do? Of course, you must be really busy, but how do you find time in balancing everything? You are a philanthropist. We know you spend time in giving back to the society, not just by the work and infrastructure, but beyond that. So, how do you manage that? How do you balance that? What is the key to balance all of this all together?
So I think balance is personal. What's my balance may not be the balance for somebody else.
Exactly.
So my own balance I can talk about. So I'm one person who's always been very focused that I will stay very close to my office. Purpose is very simple. Like, I want to work as much as I want to work, but once I'm off the work, I want to be doing what I want to do beyond the work. So I want to be at home doing things the way I want to do. Now, philanthropy, as we say, or whatever we say, I mean, in our religious belief, it's always gupt dan. You don't talk about it much. So that's something which is important for me. So I try and do something for the society, because I think we have been very lucky coming from where we started to where we are. And it's important for us to do certain things for the society. And the satisfaction that you get out of it is immense. It is for the satisfaction that I get out of it that drives me to do it. And as you evolve, you realize certain causes are close to your heart. One of them is, for me, education is close to my heart. So try and help people get educated who are not as fortunate as we are. So try and support them as much as I can. Of late, or over the years, green has become one of the causes for me. So try and plant trees as much as I can, what my personal capacity will allow me. So I think, to me, it's important that we give back if we are lucky. Kids taught us. One of my, son equivalent taught me, give back to the society at least something, like keep aside something from what you earn every time, so that you can give back to the society. So all those kids also contributed in saying, we just don't need the wealth. Try and share it with the people who are not so lucky. And that's how it has evolved. And the lesser we talk about it, the better off we are.
Very nice, very nice. Any childhood hobby just that you're still continuing? It makes you happy.
So I think, as I said, playing or sports is something which excites me. As I've aged, I've realized that I may not be able to actively pursue a lot of sports. But, I moved from being on-field player to playing on the board games. So I think what's continued with me is the sporting thing. Whether you're viewing it or playing it, there's hardly any day that me and my wife don't play a board game.
Oh, wow.
So hardly any day. So that's something which has continued with me, that it's just don't work. Play something, do something differently. That keeps me kind of energized.
Interesting. Gen Zs talk a lot about work-life balance, right? So, what is your message to the younger generation? How they can, be at the top of the work and also balance their life in the right way?
I think work-life balance, as we talk about, or any balance, is personal. So each individual has to decide what's right or what's right for oneself. My only message is very simple. If you like what you do, if you're if you're working for a purpose that you really believe in, the balance comes naturally. If you're doing something just because you need to make your both ends meet, possibly this work life balance and all other balances will be difficult to achieve, because you're not doing things for a purpose. The purpose is earning money, or a particular thing. That's not going to in any case give you a balance. So find the purpose, find your true north, and once you find that true north, all these work life balance issues, discussions about everything else goes in the background. And I think I've been lucky that I found it earlier. I would encourage every youngster to try and find their true north, get associated with that, and I can assure you, rest all will become very, very easy.
Find your true north and find the purpose.
Yeah.
Of course, rest everything will fall in place. Thank you so much, Sandeep. Thank you for being so candid. We'll be moving to our next segment, which is rapid fire round. So, of course, we'll not give you much time to think. We want you to be little quick when it comes to answering, no thinking, okay?
But let me tell you one thing before you start with a rapid fire. I am a bit slow to respond, so I can't.
That is okay. All right, great. So let's move to our first question. One word that describes your childhood.
Fun.
Fine. Early dream job.
Palette.
First salary saved or spent.
1,550 rupees.
You have
Spent on my companion of today.
Oh, wow. A habit you will never let go of.
Laughing.
Important it is. Book or real life experience.
Real life experiences.
One leadership quality you value the most.
Integrity.
Risk taking, gut or data.
Both.
A project that has tested your limits.
Delhi Merit. Package 1.
Morning routine in one word.
Listen to Mahamrityunjay mantra.
Oh. One thing people misunderstood about leadership.
Can you repeat?
One thing people misunderstand about leadership.
That they are also human.
Advice that will you give to your younger self.
Should have known my true north much earlier.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you so much. This is the end of the rapid fire round.
Thank you for hosting me, and I hope I've been able to respond well to your questions. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Before we wrap up, I have one last question. What does success mean to you today?
Success has always meant to me one thing. Can I choose to spend the time the way I want to spend it? To me, that's the true definition of my success, and I can tell you, I'm almost there, yet not there.
Maybe you will, since you are a learner. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for sharing your journey. It was really inspiring. My takeaways are keep learning, find your true north, and never give up. Take problems as a challenge, not see it and don't get stuck in the problems. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Sandeep.
and have a nice day.
Thank you.